Hello again, welcome back. It's In the Know, brought to you by the Racing Post after day one of the Grand National Festival. Looking forward to day two. My name is Ross Brierley, and over the next hour we're going to completely put a line through all the form study, because it turns out that in Grade 1 races and at big national hunt festivals, it's Willie Mullins, and then it's Willie Mullins again. Willie Mullins and Willie Mullins, 4 from 4 in Grade 1s. So again, who knew? Who knew it was that easy? There we go. There's, for some reason, a camera switch to Graeme Rodway. And there's a blank screen. Okay, I'm back again. Lovely stuff. All right, let's start that again, shall we? Hello, and welcome back to In the Know. My name's Ross Brierley. Our producers have got itchy fingers. They're really excited about tomorrow. They really are. But yeah, Willie Mullins wins the Grade 1s. The front runner wins the races over the national fences. Last year's winner wins the Red Rum. And the Paddy Toomey horse wins the bumper. Easy this game, isn't it? Really is very easy. Let's see if it continues tomorrow, shall we? Dan Skelton will be getting very scared indeed. £1 million quid's a big number, but at this rate, Willie Mullins is going to send every horse he has to air and everywhere else besides. Maybe this is why Patrick Mullins has been going around every single track in the UK, just to rack up those 2 or 3 grand every now and then. But anyway, look, we're going to get stuck into day two. We are live and interactive. Give us a little like on the stream if you are watching, and comment below as well and get involved. Hello to the chat, to Dale Grimble, to Rob Dixon, to Ryan Gledhow, to Craig Woolley, to Michael Williams, to John Little, and to Brian Galt. Hello to you, my good man. I did get your message about the Topham and tongue ties. Can't wait to wind up Tom Segal about that tonight. What have we got? Comments. Ryan Gledhow, all you Gaelic Warrior naysayers, you were all wrong. Fair play, Ryan. Absolutely. We were completely 100% wrong. Craig Woolley, no checkered shirt. Sorry to let you down, Craig. I've gone for the mustard option today. And anyone else? What have we got? We've got some opinions about Nico de Boinville. Unsurprisingly. Let's see what the panel make of that and much, much more. It's a very good evening. You might have seen him mere seconds ago being teased there. It was like I felt like I was on a morning chat show there, Rodders, with coming up later in the show. Let's cut to the green room. It's like Jonathan Ross. Yeah. I'm not quite as famous, unfortunately, as Jonathan, but nice to be on, Ross, as always. Great to be back. Another big day of racing. Yesterday, today, tomorrow. We're at that stage, aren't we? We've discussed this on many shows before, where we're kind of working 2 or 3 days in advance, a bit lost as where we are. But I know we're at Aintree. Well,
look into my eyes, Rodders. Right?
Yeah.
Day two. We're looking at day two.
Okay.
All right. Okay. There we go. We must say, and I must say, someone did put a comment on last night's show in the comments, which is a very fair point. That we're thinking about these races, particularly Cheltenham, for weeks on end. Aintree, you're writing copy for. You're looking at Saturday's races on a Thursday, sometimes on a Wednesday even, if you're Robbie on a Monday. And your racing fan, your racing aficionado, your racing punter comes on, rubbing their hands together, and we can sometimes seem a bit bleary-eyed and a bit jaded already because there's so much going on. But that does happen. But I think it's a key for us to get our head in the game and get excited about day two.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all the fun of the fair, isn't
it? It absolutely is. How was day one for you?
Day one was very good, yes, because unfortunately for these naysayers, Gaelic Warrior, as I told them yesterday, was the bet of the day. And he did it in good style, didn't he?
You went on last night, so why were you a yaysayer?
Well, you're just better than those, wasn't he? He's got more ability than the rest of those horses. And I just felt that good ground over 3 miles, that might suit him. And it did.
It did.
Beautiful.
He did. He is, I mean, I was comparing Constitution Hill to Wayne Rooney last night. I might as well do this as well. He's Mario Balotelli. He's got all the ability in the world. Sometimes you think, what the hell are you doing? And then sometimes you think, oh my God, that's sublime.
Yeah, he's that sort of horse, isn't he? And there's been a few of those from the Willie Mullins yard down the years, hasn't there? He's not the only one who's got loads of ability, but loads and loads of quirks as well. But on their day, they're very good, and we saw that again today from Gaelic Warrior. He doesn't have many good days, but when he does, he's good, isn't he?
Well, he has more than most, doesn't he? And this is the thing, Keith, that's similar to Impere Pass a little bit. You can look at, he made mistakes last time out. He's a little bit quirky. Last year's Aintree Hurdle, he keeps winning Grade 1s.
If it was our hurdle race they'd ran in that today, they'd been 1-3. So, the temptation for him to pass was always there, and it was just a case of him putting in a better round of jumping, which he did. I think you were right about Townend. I think he just had him in the right place all the time, didn't he? That helps the horse. Maybe a dodgy jumper, yes, he will make mistakes sometimes, but a jockey that can have the horse in the right place, you just minimise that chance.
Yeah, and I mean, it's that he knows the horse. He's now 8 from 9, I think, and the one defeat was in second. So he just knows the horse so well and knows exactly where to place him and at what point to challenge. You see a lot of the manifesto in particular, the Novice Chasers. The Protectorate did it similarly a couple of seasons ago. Horses who have got a lot of ability, very quirky. They turn into the home straight. They almost whip round the wide outside, and then it's just about dead aim for the line.
Well, there's 3 fences and quite a long straight. There's a furlong and a half run between 2 out and the last. There's time there for flat class to really come out if the horse is, not 2 outs a ditch, isn't it? So you can make the mistake, but as long as you get over that, and you've got the horse with the best engine underneath, you can utilise that. Townend did that very well today. He just thought about the game and how to use that horse's weapons best.
Yeah, absolutely. Tom Segal sat at home watching Aintree today. Praise for Paul Townend, but
not all of it.
What's that? Sorry.
Didn't watch all of it. Did some gardening while the bumper was on, if truth be told.
No, that's fine. I mean, I don't think I said you watched all of it, and it's an interesting point to pull me up on as I introduce you. But thanks ever so much, Thomas. What was I saying? Yeah, Nico de Boinville was
the 4-timer, Ross. I loved the 4-timer.
Yeah?
Not that one. Mark Goldstein
at Plumpton.
Oh, yes.
10,000 to 1.
Oh,
the other one was as boring as anything that I've ever seen in my life, but the 10,000 to 1 Mark Goldstein one I very much enjoyed.
Somebody was saying he's had 5 winners this season before today.
Unbelievable. And I must, every time I think you cannot find a way to be... Surely there's no more contrarian opinions could come out of Tom Segal. I love it. Mark Goldstein at Plumpton, better than Mullins at Aintree.
Well, that's the story, isn't it? Let's be honest. I am being slightly contrarian, but it was boring watching Willie Mullins win those 4 races. Personally, and I know people disagree, he's killing the sport stone dead cold for me. Yeah. That is the worst thing. I had people on the ground there who said they weren't even watching after 2 races. So it was because it's just, also. These horses haven't been. If they were winning 1-1-1-1-1 throughout the crib, people would come out and watch them. But Gaelic Warrior hasn't raised a leg. You know what I mean? Impere Pass was useless last time. Saint-Bouis hasn't. It's really, really boring for punters, I think. So I am being contrarian, but I thought the Goldstein was the story. That's the story. That's the thing that got me excited. Watching him come in on the 12 to 1 shot on his 4th. Or whatever it was, the even money shot for his 4-timer when he's had 5 winners all season. What a story!
Yeah, no, absolutely fair, and it'd be a big if why don't we all have a £5 lucky 15 on his rise? That's the real question, isn't it? But look, I don't know. I know what you mean. I don't know. It's a bit like okay, right. So Liverpool are a good example of this as well in the Premier League this year, and I read a piece in the Guardian yesterday. Saying that why is everyone blaming Liverpool for everyone else being bang average? Yeah. It's not Willie Mullins' fault that he's not killing the sport.
That is the point.
There's an argument that the sport is struggling, and that's why Willie Mullins is mopping up all these races. There's possible cart and horse there a little bit, isn't there?
A little bit, but nevertheless, 10 winners at Cheltenham, first 4 Grade 1s at thing. Do you know what I mean?
But it snowballs, doesn't it? It snowballs because Mullins built on success he had 15 years ago, and then over time he got all the good horses.
Yeah.
And as a result, he's got all the good horses, and it just builds and builds. It compounds over years.
Well, there's a classic thing, isn't it? It's
absolutely, and the point is that the rich owners want to win at Aintree. They want to win at Cheltenham. Who gives them their best chance? Willie Mullins.
Well, again,
they don't care. They don't care.
You're absolutely right, and I don't want to go. I don't want to open this up to to this being
no, of course not.
No, I was saying I don't want to open this.
I was being contrarian.
No, but what I mean is I don't want to open this.
It was.
No, hang on, Tom, hang on. Okay. What I was going to say is I don't want to open this up so wide, but this is partly, that's also the world we live in, isn't it? is that the rich get richer. Everyone, everyone uses Amazon. Everyone uses, you do all your shopping on Amazon. You watch all your things on YouTube. You go on to social medias. Everything does go like that. And Willie Mullins is merely the national hunt version of that, in that success breeds success. Money goes to money. Everyone goes, well, why would I have a horse with you when he's winning all the races? Which means he wins all the races, which means the second tier of owners go, oh, well, I need to go where they're going, and it just continues.
Absolutely. Look, I was being contrarian. We saw some great performances today, and it wasn't. Watching those horses bounce back is great, and I'm pretty sure the sort of the ratings guys probably had a very good day today with Samboy and Gaelic Warrior and Mercier and Impere Pass and the one in the bumper. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure they all cleaned up, and that's fine. And I was being contrarian in the extreme, but it is a bit frustrating when you're looking for something different at Aintree, because you sort of, as you said yesterday, you come into Cheltenham, and then Aintree's so fresh, so new. You're looking for something different, and the first 4 races go to Willie Mullins, and you sort of think, oh. It's going to happen again.
We're going to get stuck into tomorrow again. But is there a danger here, Tom, in particular in your role and everyone's role, I guess, in this, is it hard not to look at races and look at what you want to happen, because it's very hard for you in your job to go, price wise. 4 Willie Mullins horses, second favourites, 11-4, 6-4, 7-4, whatever. You can't do that, can you?
Well, to be Rodders, it was 8-1 Gaelic Warrior, and Mercier was 8-1, so you can do it. It's just that it's so hard. From my perspective, it's really hard to bet on horses bouncing back. I don't do that. That's not my style. I like betting on horses that are in form and I think are going to run their. You're guessing, I think, with some of those horses. And the point is, I was trying to make unsuccessfully, is that it's all well and good if that happens and it's trained by Alan King or Dan Skelton, but when it's Willie Mullins' fifth string that didn't even run at Cheltenham, you sort of think, gee, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You sort of think, you know what I mean? I was hoping, you sit there at Aintree and you're hoping for a Skelton horse or Nichols had a winner, but do you know what I mean? For something to come and give us all a bit of, hope. And it didn't happen.
No, you're right, and you're absolutely right. Look, and this is the thing, Rodders. I mean, it's not Mullins' fault. Take Mullins out of those, and Harry Fry, Dan Skelton, Gordon Elliott win those races, which again it makes it more interesting. But he's a proper victim of his own success in the sense of the wider thing of Mullins again. But what's he doing that everyone else isn't? Is it just that everyone's sending him the best horses and he can pick and choose which races to go for? Is it that simple?
I don't know is the answer. I don't know what he's doing that everyone else is not doing, but he's doing something that everyone else is not doing, isn't he? Because he's far more successful than anyone else. And unfortunately for us, just sitting there watching our tellies and going racing today, I agree with Tom, it's quite dull to watch. But how you change that, I don't know. It's like when Max Verstappen was winning every race in Formula One. He's dull to watch. Now
he's Phil the Power Taylor. It's he's the best darts players won the darts tournament, has he?
Again,
yeah. Do you think? Well, but how long till that turns with and I use other examples. Luke Littler, he's amazing, isn't he? In 5 years, oh God, he's winning everything again. That is. Sport thrives on stories, and it thrives on new things. It thrives on competition.
And there isn't much competition when Willie Mullins is winning everything, because all of the main dangers to Willie Mullins' horses are back at Close Sutton, aren't they, in his own yard? So it's difficult and it's not good to watch. And I don't know how we change it, but we need to.
Well, this is the problem. Yeah, the only way possibly, Keith, is introducing something to.
Yeah, Chris Cook's got a real hobby horse about this, hasn't he? About restricting the number of horses a trainer can ride. They'd get round that, I suspect. Limiting the amount of horses a trainer can send out in a season is possibly something you can do. You feel like there should be a better way of doing it than that. You feel like owners as well. Owners must know that some of them are getting mugged off in Mullins' yard. Not all the owners can be the big cheese in that yard.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah,
your horse will eventually get moved to a different race because he's got one that he fancies more for the race that you want to run.
Yeah, but again, if you said to me, you've got a horse, you'll win one Grade 1 every season, and then if you buy another horse, I'll win you one Grade 1 every season. if you said to me, I can guarantee you that. You can't pick the Grade 1 necessarily, but you'll go to a festival, you'll win a Grade 1, you'll take the trophy home, you'll take the cash, bish bash bosh, job done. That's a great deal, isn't it?
I guess, yeah, but
I'm just saying, like it's.
Well, it is if you're an owner, but it's not good for the sport as a whole. Like when golf was being dominated by Tiger Woods, they did this whole thing what they called tiger proofing, where they were tiger proofing the courses. We need to start Mullins proofing these festivals. Just make it difficult for him, you know. I don't know, stick extra obstacles in front of his horses or something.
Make all the Grade 1s handicaps.
Yeah.
And there should be a Mullins penalty.
Well,
Mullins proof.
The one thing Mullins doesn't win an awful lot of that he does is handicap chases. Make everything a handicap chase. I'd love that.
Yeah.
My sort of races.
Anyway, look.
Yeah, but the problem is he'll win the Topham and then he'll win the Grand National as well.
Well, this is the most annoying thing, and he'll win the Traders' Championship for now after this. And this is the thing. Oh, everyone said Willie Mullins is fantastic, but he does have a few blind spots. British Handicap Chase, for example. Then suddenly it's like, what's so amazing about him is you say to him, yeah, but you're not very good at that, are you, Willie? And you can imagine he goes, yeah, give me a year. I'll come back in a year, and I am going to make it my mission to prove you wrong.
I'll tell you what, it must be squeaky bum time for Dan Skelton now, though, must it? He's built up that huge lead in the trainers' title, and then Sunday seeing Mullins just totally steamroller every big festival.
Well, what's £1 million?
I mean, boys, just imagine being Toby Laws or Chris Gordon, they've really got one ready for the Scottish National like they did last year, or the Whitbread like Bet3 like they did last year, and then Willie Mullins comes and pips them on the post. How great must you feel?
Yeah, I mean he's just. I mean he is very good, and to be fair, there was a comment. Where was it? One of them said. It's not. So I can't remember the name, but someone basically said, "Oh yeah, it's not dull to watch if you had them all in an acca," which
fair enough.
No, exactly.
Fair enough. That's absolutely fair enough. Okay, right. Let's get on to tomorrow then, because Mullins has runners in every big race, so we can wrap this up by 6:35 at this rate, can't we? We start off with the Melrose, a Grade 1 Novices Chase, where handstands is 9-4. Dancing City, who I personally, based on what he's done and everything, think he's got no chance. But who bloody trains him? 3-1. Calwell Bott at 9-1. Stella Story 8-1. The Changing Man 10-1. Keeda Bourbon 14-1. Jordan 16s, and Don't Rattle It No is 20-1 outsider of the bunch. But Ben Pauling and Ben Jones have been having a good season. Of course, they've won a couple of Grade 1 novice chases with handstands, with the Jukebox Man. In races, Rodders, where Mullins didn't have a runner, but here he is to spoil the party.
Here he is, yeah, with all the other trainers that everyone would love to see have a winner, like Ben Pauling and
Colin Tizard, Joe Tizard, sorry.
Yeah, Joe Tizard. No, I don't fancy handstands much either, which is a slight concern. You know, if you're hoping for someone other than Mullins winning,
I'm partly hoping for you to do handstands. I'd love to see that, but yeah.
Discussing it with Keith earlier, I watched him go around Wincanton on good ground earlier in the year. I didn't think he looked entirely at home on the surface. Didn't jump that well. I know it was his chasing debut. I just wonder maybe if he wants a bit more cut in the ground. So, I'll be against handstands. Oh, Dancing City's got ridiculously short because of this Mullins bandwagon, hasn't he? But he is one from one at the track, of course, isn't he? Which has been a good route to profit today, hasn't it? Imperial Pass and Sans Brewery was one, wasn't he? Another one who was unbeaten there, came back, to win Aintree again. I like the Changing Man.
Okay.
What's wrong with the Changing Man? Everyone's got something against him, haven't they? Like, he doesn't win often enough. But he runs some really good races this year, hasn't he, in handicaps? Some of the biggest handicaps all year. He was second behind Mytown last time, trying to give that horse £13. I mean, the Russells seem to think that's nearly a Grade 1 horse. And I think that if he runs to that sort of level, he'll definitely run well. Joe Tizard won this. Sorry, not Joe Tizard. His dad won this race, didn't he? Native River won it in 2016. I think Lost in Translation might have won it a few years later and all. So the stable have got a good record in the race, and I think he'll give you a really good run for your money, the Changing Man, and then Dancing City will come and win it for Mullins on the line, probably.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
yeah, I think to change him, but I think I was going to say obviously in ratings he has to improve, but I know I got pelters last night for saying that Calico Calico each way or place was the nap. Calico in the frame. But if the changing man doesn't jump around and outstay at least 80% of his rivals, he is, for me, I agree with you in terms of it's an 80% place, 20% on the win just in case for me. But I do think he has a great chance. Mr. Keith Melrose,
he's got to improve, you say. The average winning Racing Post rating in this race is 166 over the last 10 years. And the changing man is probably about a 150 bridle horse, isn't he? So,
but more importantly,
it's not
what's the RPR for finishing third? What's the
average?
That is,
exactly. So this is where the changing man thing. I could not back him to really win it. I don't think he'll be good enough to win this race. I can see him finishing third.
What's the Melrose angle?
The Melrose angle, it's an interesting one. You've talked about handstands. Rodway's made that point about handstands. He comes out relatively low on course for the SmartView stats, and I spoke to the guys that have done the code for SmartView, and I said, why are they taking a minor stand against it? And they said, there's no stand been taken. He's just missed all the bonuses that you would get. You know, you would get a bonus for having run so many times at tracks that are of similar nature. Yeah. You would get a bonus, and he's just not run it anywhere quite like
to be fair, yeah, you could make the case that these three big performances are at Sandown, 2 at Sandown and 1 at Huntington, which again is
all right-handed, yeah. And he's also he run well at Foss last, won well at Foss last. That'd be a much tighter track than Aintree, but it's got a lot of similarities to Aintree. I think the system might have missed one there, but it's one of those that's just outside the spotlight of the system. It's fallen outside. But handstands, he looks like the standout horse in terms of ability in this race. Dancing City, good record at the track, but he's slower than a week in the jail. I think he's just a real grinder. Yeah. But it's the thing, the rating for this race being 166 over the last 10 years. It's obviously a below par renewal because there's only one horse in this race you think's got that in them. Yeah. And that would be handstands. Caldwell Potter gets a really good jumping score, incidentally, from SmartView, which I think I agree with. Yeah. And it casts a bit of doubt on the distance, which I think is fair.
I was going to say, there's a possibility for me he will do exactly what Stage Stars did today.
Yes. Well, that was horrible to watch as a Stage Star backer.
Yeah, but it will almost certainly happen again up the home straight, unless Tom Segal disagrees entirely. Tell us about this opener, Tom. What's the pick for you?
Well, handstands is what? He's 6 from 7 completed starts. I love him. I think he's really, really good. But I get, this is his hardest task, clearly. Ground, I think he'll be all right on it, but I think he prefers soft to ground. I hope he wins for what you've all said. Dancing City, what did they call him? A tractor or a 4x4 earlier in the season? Yeah. One of these horses that will plough through the mud and never stop. Well, he's not going to get those conditions here, is he? He's 3-1 because the Mullins factor. Caldwell Potter is another one. Before Nichols got him, all they talked about was that he needs the mud. He hasn't got the mud. It was definitely softer at Cheltenham than it will be here. I think he's, as Keith pointed out, a very good jumper. Stella Story is just a bit of a slow boat. I thought de Bourbon, the old Willie Mullins from the outside line, might be the one. de Bourbon and Jordans were my two in this. I just thought they were unexposed. de Bourbon ran a cracker in the Martin Pipe last year. He was too keen. And he still finished third. Now, it wasn't the best Martin Pipe. It wasn't a Woodhoo or a Galopin des Champs Martin Pipe. It wasn't a bad race. And I think he was still going all right. Everything was going all right in the Brown Advisory. It was a ridiculously slowly run race. So I wouldn't say that he was definitely going to finish in the frame when he unseated his rider. But he wasn't going to be beaten too far, I would have doubted. So I thought he could run well for Patrick Mullins and Willie Mullins. And I thought Jordans. I thought he ran perfectly well in the Jaguar race. Can't remember what it was, the plate at the festival. I think he's going to love going up to 3 miles. I think he'll love the ground. I mean, I hope handstands wins. I think I really like him. I think 6 out of 7 completed starts, my type of horse. So I want him to win, but I'm very worried about de Bourbon and Jordans for the Irish battalions.
Okay, lovely stuff. Thank you, Mr. Segal. Right, moving on then to the second race on day 2 of Aintree. 22 runners go to post here for this 2.5 mile handicap hurdle, and bookies are once again dodging Kopek Domain. Not quite as much as at Cheltenham, but 6-1. Mullins and Walsh, Mark Walsh, of course, in the saddle this time around for the first time on the horse's second. Starts on these shores. Impost Trois, 7-1. Be Aware is 7-1. Weighed Out, 15-2. Reckless Eric is 10s. Favour and Fortune, 12s. Helmvane also, and Steel Alley, 14-1. Again, plenty of others. The Unexposed Wellington Arch. listen to your heart in a handicap for the first time. Off the jury, who ran a blinder last time out over at Sandown. But yeah, I mean, look, again, everyone's...
Ross, come on, Ross, we got to start with it. How can it be 6-1?
Well,
How can it possibly be 6-1?
Yeah.
Look, it's
20th out of 24.
I know. Well, because it's 6-1 because it's... Look, I'm not being... But because the bookies are being cowards, that's why.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
I don't blame them. Don't blame them. I'd have it at 5-1.
They got
no form.
They got filled in today. Not only were those Mullins horses, they were all well backed.
Yeah.
You know, you almost thought, you know, Gaelic Warrior, you assumed he was back before the Tates went up. Ditto Mercia. That was
Mercia was smashed off the board and lined up in the perfect position.
So I mean, it's not just that Mullins is good; it's when they back them as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this one's more by McManus.
But the problem is, Tom, is that after today, it's hard to work out if they have backed him, or like you said, if the bookies are just going, whoa, everyone's going to back the Mullins horses, so we'll just shave 2 points off them anyway. So, quite a strong opinion of this race in the sense of, though, Tom, if it wasn't for Kopek de Me, I thought Impostoir would be a very short, a hot favourite for this, because take the other Mullins horse out, Jimmy de Searle at Cheltenham, and I think he wins the Coral Cup pretty easily. He looks a really nice type. I thought he was one of those absolute bang on, back him each way, he'll be in the mix at 7-1.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got the best form, hasn't he? The Coral Cup was surely a strong race. Kopek de Me has no form in Britain or Ireland as he's 20th of 24. So listen, I just got to take him on, and if he wins, then you throw your hands up in the air and say, oh, where did that one come from? Where did that one come from? Like we saw 4 times today. So good luck. He's not even on. Couldn't ever be on my radar, but it's Willie Mullins. Be aware, I was really disappointed with Cheltenham too. He's just too keen. He never gives himself a chance. If you go back to last year, he didn't look very keen when he was second to Helen Wine, who I thought might run well now back over hurdles at Sandown. And then he ran a cracker behind in the Greatwood, didn't he? But I don't know. Maybe having that run will take the freshness out of him and he'll come back. I agree with Impostoir. One I like is Wade Out, though. Alex Ferguson, he'll get a good reception on Merseyside, won't he, if his horse wins. But I thought he was... I just think I'm an Ollie Murphy groupie in handicap hurdles. I think he's just mustard in them. I think he wins loads of them. And I just think this horse has been crying out for 2.5 miles on good ground. I thought he was really... I went to Ascot one day and he was second to a good horse of Celtic Dino, I think it was, with Joyeuse behind him, I think. And I thought this is a really good horse when he goes up in trip. He's been sort of fiddling about with him, waiting to go up in trip, and now he does in a big handicap. First time in a handicap, I thought he'd go really well. So he would be my first choice. I also like the 2 Alan King horses. I think they'll run really well. Favour and Fortune is a big favourite of mine. And I think he's been crying out for 2.5 miles on good ground. He's a pound higher than when he won the Scottish Champion Hurdle. He's got everything going for him for me. So I get your Impostoir. I'm very, very scared of him, but my 2 were Wade Out and Favour and Fortune, and I'll just turn the telly off when Kopek de Me wins.
Fair enough. Graeme, Rodway, what's the pick?
I back Favour and Fortune, the one that Tom's just given a really good mention to. He's got loads of good form on flat left-handed galloping tracks like this. He was second at Aintree, won the Scottish Champion Hurdle at Ayr. He was 4th in the Old Betfair Hurdle, the William Hill Hurdle, whatever it's called. They were all over 2 miles, going up to 2.5. I think it will suit him. Likes good ground, sure to run well, I think, Favour and Fortune. Whether he's unexposed enough to beat a horse like Kopek de Me, trained by that man Mullins, we will see. But I think he'll give you a really good run for your money.
All right, okay. Keith, any smart view angles, anything standing out?
The jockey scores have jumped out at me in this race.
Okay.
First one, I think Hansard would just about be top on Smart View, but for Freddie Mitchell getting a jockey score of 70 in amongst all these top riders. Keep an eye, you got 70 in this race, but we'll talk about him again later. He gets a really high score. Sean Bowen coming out 100 in this race. He wouldn't always come out 100, Sean Bowen, but because he's riding for Ollie Murphy, so Smartview takes into account record for the trainer, etc. So Sean Bowen's coming out top of the shop in this race because he's riding for Ollie Murphy. And it's not a stat angle, but I think I need to mention when I've backed the absolute rag of the lot, as I have in this race actually, Manila Missile. bit of good ground. He's always been a horse that's got a lot of ability. We had a bit on him at fancy prices at Cheltenham, and that long straight can allow him to get into it a little bit more at Aintree potentially. And he's just a sort of horse that I couldn't let win at that sort of price. And you get loads of extra places. So as long as if he finishes in the first 5 or 6, you've got a really tidy payout there because he's still 20s to make the frame for.
Yeah, I was going to say he's the 100s first 6 with one firm. He's 33's first 7 with another, and there's everything else in between as well. So
yes,
you'll be again while Tom's turning the telly on. You'll be looking. Is he running? Is that 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th? What is it?
You had one today like that. You cheered home a distant third. It was very Ross.
Yeah, it's
very Ross.
Look, there's like you said, there's what you want to happen, and then there's what happens, and then there's the absolute filth place bets or each way bets that do add up over time. Okay, any opinions in this on the chat? Wellington Arch each way for Music Mike.
Well, that's got a chance. That's definitely got a chance, hasn't it, Ross? Should we mention him? He's definitely got a chance, Wellington Arch.
Well, we're a bit behind the 8 ball a little bit, but he does have. Okay. He definitely does have a chance. He's an unexposed 6-year-old for the O'Neill stable. We don't know how much he's got under the locker. So good luck to under the locker, not under the engine, under the bonnet, in the engine, in a locker, in a cupboard, under the stairs, where the skeletons live. Anyway, top Novices Hurdle up next. Romeo Coolio, 11.08 favourite here. Triple E Flyer, 3-1. Salvatore Mundi, 3-1. Diva Luna, 10s. Jet to Vegas, 12s. Royal Infantry, 25-1. Carbow and Rubber Ball are 33-1. And then we've got Blue Singer and Jolting and Jiving in there as well. And again, we saw we saw a lot of good races at Cheltenham, of course, but the Supreme Novices, we might well have seen the best one straight off the bat. And of course, we've got the second and fifth in here, third and fifth in the shape of Romeo Coolio and Salvatore Mundi. Triple E Flyer's in good nick and is splitting them, and Diva Luna represents the mare's novice form as well. And then you've got Jet to Vegas, who, to be fair, pretty damn impressive, and of all the places you back a horse trained by Lucinda Russell to win a big race, it is here. But Gordon Elliott, he kind of needs this, doesn't he, Rodders? A little bit. I mean, this is the penalty kick for him. This is the big chance this week. Obviously,
this is his big hope, isn't it? And this is his big hope. Wherein even 5 years ago, he'd have had horses. He'd have had as good raw talent as Mullins in his yard. Yeah. Whereas now, this is his big hope. And so I should say, Romeo Coolio's second highest Smart View scorer of the whole day on the whole card, actually. Okay. 97 overall. His
behind
claims,
John Bon.
Behind John Bon, his claims do stand out quite a bit in this race.
Yeah. There's an argument to be made that he might well come on for the run as well. I mean, a lot of Elliott's horses skipped the January and February, and maybe it's not always the best plan necessarily at Cheltenham. But again, he's going to be. I mean, Salvatore Mundi is an absolute lunatic, but Sam Ewing's going to be looking over his shoulder, given what's happened today and given what happens all the time to Elliott with Mullins.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a weird one, this race for me, because I'd convinced myself before the Supreme Novices Hurdle that I thought it was a very weak race. I convinced myself after the race that I thought it was a very weak race. I thought Kopek Mame did absolutely everything wrong and was still able to win.
Kopek de Board.
Yeah, Kopek, what's it called? The other one's Kopek de May, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kopek de Board.
Yeah.
Thought he did everything wrong.
Yeah. He ran in the wrong race.
Jumped badly, race keenly, did everything wrong and still won. But yet every time person that I speak to thinks that this is like the most outstanding time of the whole week, that we saw an absolute superstar race. Romeo Coolio would have won the champion hurdle by 7 lengths, apparently, purely on times.
Admittedly, he stood up, which was half of the battle.
Yes.
He'd have finished
He had to finish, to be honest. He only had to finish, he would have gone close.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just jumping round was the key.
I'm far from against times. I do look. I like to see a good time, but there's just something when something doesn't add up. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Romeo Coolio is a star, but I mean he's been beaten more times than he's won in his career, hasn't he? So as the runner-up, William Money. I just had a feeling maybe there was something a bit fishy about that time. We'll find out, won't we?
But we will. I mean, look, it's funny, isn't it? Because in theory, to my eyes, we were talking about the way the track rides last night. In my theory, from what I think about Romeo Coolio, the kicking and grinding down this big long home straight should in my mind, should suit him a hell of a lot better. Yeah. At the very least, everything is in his favour, I think. Keith, would that be fair?
Yeah, it probably would be. Kicking off the bend suited Cope out the board much better at Cheltenham, and he does just sort of grind a little bit more Romeo Coolio, doesn't he? And so yeah, I can see that definitely being the case. We saw the effect of that straight today. I think it had an effect on what happened to Constitution Hill, if I'm quite honest.
Yeah.
The fact that Nico had to sort of hold him and had to wait to make his move. He ended up crowded. He ended up crowded when he made that mistake and fell 2 out, and he wouldn't have had to do that at Cheltenham.
Yeah.
So yeah, the track has effects where you don't even anticipate them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a big important factor.
That said, though, Tom, again, if you do take that supreme form out of it, Tripoli flies well into it. Like I said, Diva Luna is one at the track, absolutely dotted up in the bumper last year. And I do like, again, of all the horses tomorrow that combine head and heart, I do think Jet to Vegas is going to run a good race.
Yeah, he had loads of pace, didn't he, at Kelso? He just jumped out a bit to his right. I hope that wasn't a problem there. Shouldn't be a problem here. But I agree with you. I thought he'd run well. The thing about Romeo Coolio, I thought, is on the day I backed him, I was a bit disappointed with him. I went back and watched it again. And I was expecting him to have been beaten about 20 lengths, and he wasn't. He kept on very well after that. I think he's a 3-miler. I would have much preferred him in 2.5 mile race than this. But having said that, that form... while I'm sort of in Rodgers' camp that I'm not overly convinced by it just yet, I still think it's the best here. Whether he had too hard a race that day is a possibility, because he definitely did. He went hard because the time, as Rodgers pointed out, was good, and he was still running at the line. So he definitely had a hard race. If he is back to his best form, I think he'll probably be hard to beat. But I do think Tripoli Far's very good. I do. He's just got to jump properly. He was going back a long time now, when I did the Supreme anti-post bit for Cheltenham, I very, very nearly put Tripoli Fire up. I think it was 100-1 at the time, because I just loved him when he beat a good horse on the all-weather. I loved him in the bumper here last year when he cantered all over them and then got done by another unbeaten horse of his stablemate Horace's Pearl came and beat him. I think he's very good. I think he's got a lot of pace. Fergal O'Brien's in very good form at the moment. I think he's got a good chance. And as you say, Jet to Vegas, he was keen, he jumped right, and he still hacked up at Kelso. So, I wouldn't rule him out of it. And, well, what do you say about Salvatore Monday? He's got no chance on anything he's done, but he'll probably win.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a lunatic, isn't he? I mean, like I said, he doesn't settle, he doesn't jump particularly well. He's clearly got an engine, but I think they must have mixed up the numbers on the gear stick to go with that engine. But yeah, Jet to Vegas, to be fair, was beat them all in top pot. Don't get many of them around, to be fair. But yeah, Romeo, just to pick up on what Tom said there about Tripoli Flyers jumping. Mm-hmm. Again, what's the smart views in there? Because you're right, Kempton, slow jump, awkward jump.
Yeah, it's rare that in a hurdle race like this that Smart View would really take a view on jumping, but it has done with Tripoli Flyer. He's gone 69. He's lowest by 7 points in the field on jumping. Yeah. It's as I say, it's not terribly often that the system takes a view, but it picks up on every mistake. Hit this flight, didn't jump with fluency. It picks up on all those and puts it into the mix, and it's obviously picked it up with Tripoli Flyer. It's basically warning him off as I think with a decent jumping score, he might have been second top ahead of Salvatore Monday, but with that jumping score, it just takes him into third.
Yeah. Okay. Dave Brown says, Wadu ran well, but Ross, but can you trust Elliott horses not running as you would expect them to be? I mean, to be fair, I do honestly think, though, just very quickly, the jockey situation is clearly playing a part. I mean, if your first and second jockeys are struggling with injuries and then coming back and then dropping out, that consistency of other yards is
and the continuity and Jack Kennedy would have ridden Romeo Coolio. Well, he rode him at Cheltenham, so he'd have ridden him most of his prep. Getting ready, knows the horse. It doesn't help. It can't help.
Yeah. Romeo Coolio then 11 to 8, and also very shout out on the chat to Tuco Benedicto Pacifico Juan Maria Ramirez, who says, Ross, read this out. Jet to Vegas form figures 1 2 2 2 2 1 1. Must be second or better. If only it was that simple. But I do agree that
we established that it can be that simple.
It can be that simple, to be fair.
First 2 3 out in this Fox Hunters, Mullins 4-timer in the Grade 1s, Paddy Toomey in the bumper. Yeah. It can be that simple.
Horse who finishes first or second every
what
time.
about Mark Goldstein, though, Keith? What about Mark Goldstein?
Oh, the fairy, the You wait until you see the front page of the Post tomorrow, Tom. You're in for a real treat.
Oh.
No John Bond, no Willie Mullins, all Goldstein.
Well, all Goldstein. All the time. Okay, let's move on then to the age 330, the Melling Chase here. What a lineup we've got for you. As John Bon at 1-2 takes on El Fabiolo at 100-30, Protectorad at 6-1, and Matata, who must be very confused to be going up against the horses he's going up against to some extent. But yeah, look, it is a bit disappointing. We've got 4 runners here, but I guess I don't want to get it. Let's not get into it. The problem is there's so many things we could get into, but the argument against the Ryanair Chase is partly this lineup here, because if there wasn't a Ryanair Chase, a lot of horses would skip Cheltenham and line up in this.
Well, my main gripe is that I was on El Fabiolo at fancy prices for the Ryanair and have missed the price in this race.
Yeah.
So I wish that horse nothing but stepping on all the stones tomorrow.
I mean, again, he's a funny one because he got outstayed by Senecchia at Navan last time out, but he does, you know, his record versus John Bond is very interesting. Mullins versus Town, and people have been asking for him to be stepped up in trip for ages. I don't think, you know, first one in heavy ground in a strange race you would put a big cross next to him necessarily. And John Bond, I mean, what haven't we said about John Bond? But what do you think of the Melling?
He'll just win, won't he? I mean, he's he's unbeatable anywhere but Cheltenham, isn't he? His record on galloping tracks like this is second to none. He's got loads and loads of ones. He made a bad Horlicks of a mistake at Cheltenham and still managed to finish second. He's just in a different world to this lot. The only thing that's in the back of the mind is that Willie Mullins trains the second in the market. He's beaten John Bond before, and if it suddenly springs back to life like Gaelic Warrior did, then maybe he'll give John Bond a race. But I reckon that that John Bond will beat him comfortably this time. He's beaten him every time away from Cheltenham, hasn't he?
Well, he beat him here, he beat him at Sandown, so yeah, apart from the Arkle.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes, is it the Arkle all the time he's beaten?
Arkle's the
Years
only
ago, yes. So they've been meeting each other at this meeting for a long time. We've got Saints is in the comments mentioned that El Fabio surely prime candidate for a Lummox. He's too nimble to be. He's too fast to be a Lummox.
Yeah.
He jumps like a Lummox, but he's too fast.
He's a bit he's like a Wile E. Coyote or something like. He's got all the ability, but he just sometimes just plough through the wall and leave a shape.
Yeah.
But he's got tons of ability, and he's basically had a bad 12 months, El Fabiolo, and he's 8 years old. He's very, very talented, and it would be way too soon for you to. I mean, if he wins, Tom, it's the same feeling as Gaelic Warrior in the sense of sure, it makes sense. Yeah. He's got a lot of ability, but God, where's he been for the last 12 months? But
I think it's worse, isn't it?
It's what? Sorry,
I think it's worse, isn't it? It's worse than Gaelic Warrior, isn't it? I think, because at least Gaelic Warrior won the Arkle. This horse was pulled up and ran sort of looked like he didn't even look very quick at Sandown, did he, Keith? That was the day. He did look like a bit of a lummox at Sandown when he took
he was
with him.
He was just.
I mean, he did come second.
The horse he was just done, wasn't he? He was just completely done.
Yeah.
He's a really good horse, but
done nothing this season.
Yeah.
So you've got to hope he bounces back. Listen, I can't back horses like that. You know, I never can. That's probably one of the failings of me as a punter, is that I'm so unforgiving it's untrue. But I'll tell you what, though, if Matata wins, we've all got to be on Minella Kakuna in the National, haven't we? Kakuna Matata, that would be a double for you, wouldn't it? I can't see him winning. Protectorat's not good enough. It's surely John Bond wins. Surely just John Bond gets out in front and wins. I hope he does. I mean, listen, people have a go at Nicky Henderson, but I've got a load of time for him, and he's I'm not convinced. He's not had a fair shake of the luck stick, really. I mean, I know he got lucky with Django Bayer in the Arkle, but this horse and Constitution Hill twice, I'd like John Bond to win, really. It's something different, and he's a really good horse. As Rogers says, I think he's better. When he got beaten in the Arkle by El Fabiola, he was completely wrong. That wasn't his form at all. I think he's a better horse, and barring accidents, which tends to happen to the Henderson horses these days, I think he'll win.
Well, I mean, even again, the start at Cheltenham this year, and Solness completely ruined that for him. I mean, the thing is, he outstayed. I mean, he must have distance. What does the distance say on the Smart View here for John Bond? Because he He's unexposed this trip. I mean, essentially outstayed 3 milers last year. He outstayed Conflated and Protector.
He's top for distance actually, 97, because he's won. It was one of his best runs at the time, career best at the time to run when he won over 2 mile 4 here. So it's just, he's got 97, and the others have got mid to low 80s for the distance. Protector's got form over further going back, even though he's fully effective at the trip. Bill Fabiolo, most form at 2 miles, and Matata's obviously stepping up as well. So John Bon, having won this very race, the system just goes, well, what are you talking about? Like, the others have got more questions to answer than this horse, who won the race last year. So the system's giving you a slap on the wrist there, I think.
Yeah. Just very quickly, Nicky de Boinville last couple of... He's not had a good couple of weeks, has he?
No, well, he's been very good on John Bon this season, though, hasn't he? He's been an absolute revelation on John Bon.
Yeah. I just wonder, is there a bit of a... Again, he's only human. I just wonder whether there's a bit of a knock in confidence, Tom?
Absolutely, it has to be. It has to be. It's anything. We all know. If you have 25 losers on the trot, the next winner is harder to find than if you've had 4. It's just the way it is. Yeah. It's the way in life. In anything, if you're a postman and you miss the letterbox, you've got to get your letter at 7, and you oversleep and you get there at 7:30. You don't feel great the next day, do you?
I sometimes feel like I would miss a letterbox.
That's the way it is in life. Anything.
I love it.
So
it's the same with anything. So yes, he will be feeling the pressure.
Yeah, because he has to deliver.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah, very good.
Hopefully he won't get the sack for us. But okay. So John Bon wins, do you think?
Yeah, he wins. Yeah.
Keith?
I mean, he's I'm not be betting in the race. I just want him to beat El Fabiolo.
Yeah. Okay. And John Bon. Tom.
Yeah, I hope so. It would be really depressing if El Fabiolo wins.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So. El Fabiolo by 5 lengths it is. Okay, let's go on to the Topham, shall we? Where Blue Lord 8-1, Willie Mullins pulled down. It's a top of the menu.
Who trains James Brierley?
Well, it's all.
Who trains Glenn Gooley?
It's our old friend Willie Mullins. Glenn Gooley at 10-1 for Willie Mullins. Am I right? Is 10-1 as well. Bad is 10-1. Late night past 11. Excello 12-1. The Goffer at 12-1. Bigger prices the rest.
We talk about Mullins in British Handicap Chases. He's had a runner in every Topham since 2010.
Yeah, and
at least one.
And the thing is, look again. Calico to place last night. The change your man to place. James the Burley in the 4. Let's go.
Your play spot is easy tomorrow.
Absolute 10 quid straight line at this point. But look, the thing is, we saw it today over the National Fences, Keith. I don't having an opinion right now is one thing. After 2 fences, there's only 2 winners.
The thing is, we can. Yeah,
that's whoever's in first and second.
I was over your shoulder, and you stood over Robbie's shoulder, and I agreed with you, and you said, "Look, Robbie, just have a ton on that and a ton on that."
I literally said, "Robbie, open the exchange right now. I'm 100 quid on those 2."
Was it Beechers or Valentine's you did that at? It was really early.
It was very early.
And so it worked. We're first and second.
It worked.
It works like that. In fact, I've got some stats.
Go on, then.
We've got the performance on the Topham and Fox Hunters by run style. So there have been, since 2018, not including today's Fox Hunters, by the way, because I did these stats before then, 12 races over the national fences in those 2 races. 10 went to prominent racers.
Yeah.
You would have expected 4 if all horses had the same chance, and you would have expected 7.5 winners if you allowed for all the horses' prices. So they're massively outperforming even the market. Yeah. Like, we know that. They're outperforming SPs. You don't have to wait till they've jumped a few fences. That is one of the best angles, and it works for the placed horses too. The placed horses, it's 27 versus 16 or 22 expected. So it's just the angle in these 2 mile 5 races in April over the national fences. It's just the way to go.
The problem is, Rodders, working out who that is now.
Yes, not quite so easy, is it?
Not quite so easy.
Like I always say, if racing was run on paper, it'd be easy, wouldn't it? But unfortunately, it's run on grass.
Yeah.
And that makes it a lot more difficult.
And simultaneously, really, it's very hard to write on grass. But what do you, what did you fancy at this moment?
I suspect half these jockeys might also know that fact and also want to be bang there.
But you say that, but I think that half the time, and then I watch the race and I think, well, clearly not.
No.
So anyway, what's the
late
angle?
night pass?
Okay.
Yeah, late night pass for me. He's finished his second behind the favourite for the national, hasn't he? Last time at Cheltenham Stumptown. Third was Vanilio. They're both high up in the national market. I backed late night pass that day. Travelled like the winner the whole way. I thought I was going to win until about halfway up the towards the last, and suddenly he was sort of paddling in front, and Stumptown came and ran away from him. But this is a shorter distance; it will suit late night pass. He's got form over the national fences before. Again, may not win, but he's certain to run well.
He's the Great Minds horse, isn't he? We got together, me, Graeme and Robbie, and came up with Late Night Pass. We had 6 on the shortlist. Yeah. So the thing with Great Minds, sometimes it can become a little bit of selection by committee. But Late Night Pass has got all that going for him. He's got so much course form. You know, he did have that great run last time in the cross country at Cheltenham. He's obviously going to run. He's the sort of horse when you're getting extra places, 6, 7 places. He's the sort of horse you want to be having running for you.
Unless he's buried in the pack.
Unless he's buried, because that's it, is what's going to get out in front. And I'm looking at some really funky horses here, simply because I think they're going to be bounced out.
Well, that's the thing. There could be a few. I mean, Judy's Destiny, Soul Icon was on the list for me.
Can I go for a massive swing at one that's going to be potentially up with the pace all the way through?
Go on.
Western Zephyr.
Zephyr?
Yeah, led them over 3 out in the Grand Annual last time.
All right, okay. Western Zephyr, Charlie Longsdon and Sean Bowen.
Sean Bowen's up. He's obviously got a good record. He's won 3 races over the national fences, all been these 2 mile 5 races. He's never won the Beecher or the National. And this horse had good form in the autumn there. He struggled with physical issues. He was a bleeder last season. He's not bled this season as far as I know. He was second to Lotus Sud. He won at Carlisle. Had a 3-month break, came back, ran in the Grand Annual, led them over 3 out, and then just blew up. The same connections won the Grand Annual with Bentalamar. The Red Rum, with Bentalamar years ago. They do tend to target Aintree, and I wonder if it's a bit of a plan. He's a monster price with a top jockey up, and he's on a good mark. Right. And he's going to lead.
66-1, Western Zephyr. Tom Segal.
I like your stack. I like your front running angle, Ross. Problem is, it's going to be 74 full starts, aren't there? And the one that you think is going to front run is going to get his head back round the tape, and then he's going to be held up round the back. Then he'll do a UE, and then and something that hasn't made the running before will end up making the running. So good luck trying to find the runner.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right. But it's your job to find it, Tom. So what's the top of horse?
Listen, I backed Grandeur Dame in the Ultima at Cheltenham, and he was probably one of the worst sufferers in any race from the start. He whipped round at the start, and he's a front runner that ended up jumping the first in last. He ended up in front or near the front after about 3 fences. If he gets away on time, I love the form of his second to Moon d'Orange at Cheltenham. I think that gives him a massive chance. Well, not a massive chance, it's the top of, but it gives him a good shot in this race. If he gets away, he's a bit of a quirky thing, so there's a chance he might not take to it, but I think he's a good jumper. He's got good form in those Cheltenham sort of 2.5 mile races, which I like in this race. I think a bit of pace is what you need. So he's my number 1 choice. The other one I like is Ian Donoghue. Keith Donoghue's brother trains Lisna Malt Lad, who is a very good jumper. He's been trained specifically for this race. They built some fences around the Curragh for him to have a crack at because they really fancy him. His stable won the Ulster National the other day, much to my chagrin, as Dunboyne, who I'd backed 1 million times and refused on most of them, decided to put his best foot forward and beat final orders. So the stable's going well. They had a horse run very well in the... It was 4th of 5. But
yeah, they did. Yeah, Break My Soul. Break My Soul ran an absolute blinder, didn't she?
Ran an absolute blinder. The horses are in tremendous form. Johnny Burke's booked, and the Cheltenham form, where he made all and beat horses that have gone on to win, is very solid. So I'm hoping he gets out in front. He wants 2.5 miles on good ground, and that's what he's going to get. So 40-1 or whatever he was, I thought him and Grandeur Dame would be my 2. What do you think, Ross? Have I convinced you?
Yeah, anything could convince me in this race, if I'm honest. Again, it's just, but partly also we don't have this. We don't have a bookie sponsor right now, so I'm saying, get on the exchange and have a little click on the 2 or 3 jump off in front. It really, half the time, it is that simple in these races. I thought Soul Icon was quite interesting. He's off and up there. He's got good 2.5 form. Thought Garlaw was a little bit interesting.
Isn't he going to be held up? Sorry, Ross. Isn't he going to be held up? Didn't they change tactics on him at Kempton, and he took his form to a new level?
No, he made all. He tried to make all at Exeter. He was prominent at Kempton. He led at Sandown. He led at Wincanton. He led at Market Race.
Harry Cobden rode him at Kempton, and I thought he said after the race all the horses liked being held up, but I might be wrong. I could be wrong. I hope I am wrong for your sake.
The last 6 runs, he's made all the running or run prominently 5 of those times, I think. So Harry Cobden's lying to you, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. 440 Aintree is the Sefton Novices Hurdle, 3 miles the distance here, 15 runners, an absolute banger of a race, and partly, guys, this is your chance, in theory, unless Argento Boy wins. But Mr. Megget, 7-2, Califat Envol, 7-2, Battleborn Lad, 6-1, Familiar Dreams, 7-1, Jacob's Ladder, 7-1, Argento Boy, 10-1, Moon Rocket, 12s, Western Night, 14s, and this is, I guess, the Aintree version of the Albert Bartlett Rodders, although in the sense of, but also not, because I feel like the Albert Bartlett, you want those rock bottom stayers. The Sefton, you can step up in trip and still
it's happened,
perform your best
it's
in this race.
It's happened in recent years, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I've backed Jupiter Des Mottes, trained by Lucinda Russell, who won this with a Hoisinor, 66-1, Apple away at 16-1. This one's 33-1. Got beaten last time by a horse called Crystal Fortune, who's back against it here, but that was over 2.5. Going up in trip, like you just said, might bring about the improvement needed. So a big old price on with Jupiter Des Mottes.
Okay, yeah, it is a bigger price. 33-1, which, to be fair, Lucinda Russell, unexposed novice hurdlers at 33-1 or bigger in the Sefton. Tom, it's not been a bad angle in the past, has it?
It's one of my. Well, I think one of the first times we did this show, a few of us tipped Hoisinor to win at 66-1. So. It's been a great angle. I don't.
Yeah, we're going to chisel that. It's perfect for your gravestone, Tom. Say a Hoisinor on it. It'll work for both things. But it's
conflated. They're the only two winners I tipped on here probably, but they've been big price ones, thank God. I thought Battleborn Lad was really impressive at Doncaster. I know Moon Rocket got in a bit of trouble and. Could have finished a bit closer, but I liked the way he went again after the last. He seemed to win with loads in hand. I thought he had a very good chance. Mr. Megget I've been following Mr. Megget since he won his bumper at Carlisle or something. I thought he was I thought he was going to be a superstar, and he still might, but he's clearly got all sorts of problems, isn't he? He's like, he runs one, and then you think, and now he's back over 3 miles with a tongue tie on at Aintree. I don't know. He could be a different class to these, but a bit of guesswork needed there. I thought Battleborn Lad was really solid. I thought he might make the running. From a good ground, might be hard to catch.
Yeah, Battleborn Lad then, who, like you said, I mean, you don't see many horses, do you? Go from, bumper to 2 mile novice hurdle, have 4 months off, step up to 3 miles and absolutely bolt up, like Battleborn Lad. What's the angle here, Keith?
Well, we've talked about Lucinda Russell's record in the race. She gets 95 for trainer score here. She would normally get sort of low 90s or 90-ish against the good yards, but because of her record in this race and at this meeting, she gets bumped up to 95. Patrick Wadge gets a good jockey score as well, 75. Matter of time until he's a stable jockey, in my view. He's a very good young rider. I noticed also the race at Jupiter Des Mottes was second in last time here. It's a race that Lucinda Russell has won with Giovinco and Whistle Stop Tour in 2 of the last 3 years. So this looks like this has been her Sefton horse for a little while.
Okay, lovely stuff. Right, yeah, it is wide open. I mean, again, I'm really looking forward to watching this race. It's always an absolute blinder, but I've really struggled to find an angle in. I mean, I like the front two. I think Battleborn Lad's got plenty to come. Argento Boy for Mullins, the ones at bigger prices, I don't know. It's a cracker, but it's tough. It's tough. Right, on to the last then. The Helgarten and Novum Wines Handicap Hurdle. Determined to get them to send me. To send me a box.
On, Ross.
It's gonna, come on, Tom. Me and you in a glossy magazine pull out. I can see it.
I think Hallgarten and Novum would like you in their glossy magazine, Ross.
Look, there's a lot of people watching this at home drinking wine, and I can feel it. Hamsiam 5-1, Affodil 6-1, Celtic Dino 7s, Grimaud 11s, Jack Hyde 11s, Moonchime 12s, Alnilam 14s with Fiercely Proud, and bigger the rest. This was one of the most the liveliest races of the year, of the meeting last year. because of the start, wasn't it? Go Dante should have won
Don't
by
mention the start.
half the track. But yeah, I think this is one of the races of the week again, Tom. I mean, it's God, there's loads in here. It's an absolute cracker. What stood out to you?
Well, loads, didn't there? I agree with you entirely. What a great race this is. It's a pity it's not. Listen, Hampsian's been well backed, hasn't it? And it's a Tony Martin special, isn't it? Really, I mean, I think he's very well handicapped. He's down in trip to 2 miles for the first time. He didn't look like that was necessarily what he wanted when he was charging home in the Chester, the Consolation Chester race, or when he beat Long Draw at Cheltenham earlier in the season. But he's back, and it's Tony Martin. I mean, Tony Martin did, he got a 7-year-old that's been beaten 15 times to win the Irish Lincoln, nearly win the English Lincoln in the last few days. So he can do anything really. So while I wouldn't want to be on him at 5-1, I get the market move for him. Affordil was desperately unlucky not to win the Imperial Cup last time. I think he'll go well. You can make a case for loads. Grimo thought I had a chance. The one I actually liked most was Lucinda Russell's horse, which I've lost my name. Old Gregorian, who I thought ran a blinder in the Moor Battle last time. I think a lot went wrong for him, and then he missed the last, and he was still finished hot on the heels of Cracking Rhapsody. I think he's got plenty more to come, and so Old Gregorian at a decent price if he's still in there. Is he running? Am I talking mad? He is running, isn't he?
He's 50 to 1, or
he doing at 50 to 1?
Yeah.
What's he doing at 50 to 1, boys?
Well, yeah, fair
Shouldn't
point.
be 50.
Well, he's got. I mean, Smartview comes out in the logjam behind the sort of runaway sort of top rated, but he's one of these horses that should not be that sort of price, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, but again, I do think there are loads in here. I mean, I thought Fiercely Proud was really interesting. You put a line through his run last time out. The 2 Sam Thomas horses, Celtic Dino, Lump Sum, both got good chances. Speaking of them all, but the one I do think is overpriced is Slugger, who won 3 on the bounce, and then, I mean, the thing about that Moor Battle, it was a proper pace collapse. They went a mad gallop, and he was the only one who kept going on the speed, and 3 horses went past him. But I think this track will suit him down to the ground. So yes, Slugger is again 33s. I think I'll be having a little bit on Slugger. Rodders
back Manuelito, who we haven't mentioned. We've got mentioned a lot, but I backed, for some reason, don't ask me why, I backed Orkham Risk in the William Hill Hurdle. I thought that he might suddenly spring back to form. He was obviously well past his best now and wasn't capable of being competitive in a race as competitive as that. But Orkham Risk did bounce back to finish second to Manuelito next time at Newbury, and he's a really good horse at Newbury, Orkham Risk. And I thought that Manuelito beat him easily. So I'm with Manuelito, who's only having his 4th run, I think, for Hobbs and White. He was with David Pipe for a little while. We're having a good season, aren't they?
Very
Philip
good season.
Hobbs and Johnson White. So, yeah, I think he's got more to come.
Yeah, Hobbs and White also sound like a wine dealer as well, to be fair, doesn't they?
Yeah.
Lovely glass of Hobbs and
Hobbs
White.
and White wines.
Yeah. Manuelito, again, he's...
Just to butt in, though, Ross, they're not as good as Paul Garton and Novum, who are my favourite wine dealers.
Absolutely. They really are the pick of the bunch. Manuelito, who flat track bully, prominent racer, slick at his hurdles, should love this.
Yeah, nice and simple.
And they had Bally placing this last year as well. So
You just described Affordil there, haven't you?
I mean, we've described half the field. That's part of the problem, isn't it? I mean, Affordil, again, like Sam Brie, this and
Apart from he's been looking like he's actually in form, whereas Salisbury he was looking in pretty dire straits for most of the season. It's a rare one because he's coming out 6 points clear on Smartview, despite not being top on ability. Usually a horse that's that far clear has a real ability edge because ability is the biggest in the the weighted average that we use to calculate overalls.
Well, he'll have course and jockey though.
Well, he has Freddie Gingill. He scores 95 on jockey in this field. 85 for Dylan Johnson because obviously Sam Thomas, he rides for him a lot. But everything else is 70 and downwards really in the field. Freddie Gingill, with his record on this horse, gets a really big score. The horse is a great jumper. He's obviously got good form at flat tracks like this. And being Paul Nicholls in this realm scores 100s. He's just got an awful lot going for him. He is the sort of horse. He's your play spotter's friend, isn't he? He's your £10 straight line play spotter. Apart from this, isn't in the play spot.
Yes, it'll be in the ITV7. So goes in there. Okay, fair enough. Right, there's a few for you. We'll get the naps in a second. We've got an ad in a second. But a shout out to David Clark, who says my 4-year-old says you look like Mr. Bean, Ross. So which is the best comment anyone's ever put in the chat. And look, I could give you a list of 30 to 40 lookalikes, none of which look like each other, but apparently all of them look like me, which is very confusing. So Mr. Bean is added to the list. Thank you, David Clark. We'll get the naps after this.
You want over £2,000 in Cheltenham free bets? Visit racingpost.com/free bets, the ultimate hub for betting offers. Racing Post. Stay ahead of the field.
Okay, lovely. Right, let's get the naps, and then I'm going to treat everyone to a steak tartare. There's a Mr. Bean reference no one was expecting. Love Mr. Bean. Anyway, Graeme Rodway, the best bet of Aintree Day 2.
It's Favour and Fortune 220 at Aintree.
Lovely stuff. Two things we will, one we'll need and one we'd like tomorrow. Tom Segal, what about you?
I'll go for Grandeur Dame. I'm not going to play with the Willie. Well, very much looking forward to Willie Mullins' 6-timer and then watching I Am Maximus start 4-7 for the National. But I'm going for Grandeur Dame to upset the apple cart.
Okay, very well.
In the Topham.
Thank you very much. Keith?
Well, Tom's put me off having a big swing at Western Zephyr in the Topham, so I'm going to play it safe and go for handstands.
Go for?
Handstands.
Handstands, right. Okay, lovely stuff. I will go for Impostoir in the Handicap Hurdle.
Each way now?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Just place, like I said, place only, yeah. Who cares if they win?
You disappoint me there because no one's napping in the Holgarton and Novum Wines race, are they?
That's because they are simply a class above.
Have we done enough to get a free case yet?
I don't know. I think possibly Rowan Atkinson's just got himself a job.
What if Rowan Atkinson gets a crate of wine delivered to himself? He has no idea why.
Absolutely no idea. I mean, to be fair, that's a very Mr. Bean thing to do. Okay, lovely stuff. Thank you everyone for watching. Again, if you haven't done so already, like and subscribe. Let's have a look. Anyone put a nap very quickly? Mr. Megget nap for Frizzy Red. And Dale Grimble's nap is that he won't win. All right, Dale. See you next time.